You ever live in one of those small towns where everybody knows everybody's dog's name, but nobody knows how to mind their own business? Yeah, that's Maple Hollow for you. We've got one diner, two bars, and an HOA so drunk on power they once fined a guy for hanging his flag too enthusiastically. I'm Jake, born and raised here, and my granddad Earl's been living on the same patch of land since the late 70s. Quiet man, slow with words, quick with his pocket knife. He planted a grove of pines behind his cabin back when disco was still legal, said the trees helped him breathe. Turns out, they'd end up helping the whole damn town do the same. The story started with a letter, one of those fake official envelopes that smells like toner and arrogance. It was from the Maple Hollow HOA, signed by their queen bee, Cynthia Aldrich, who thought laminated bylaws were a form of divine scripture. The letter said Grandpa's pine grove violated the community's visual harmony clause and was scheduled for removal. I read it twice, then looked at Grandpa. He was buttering cornbread with a pocket knife, not even blinking. "They're coming for your trees," I said. He nodded slow. Let him try. Cynthia wasn't new to trouble. After her third divorce, she found a new purpose, tormenting people with clipboards and printed regulations. She'd shut down 3 porch swings, fined a man for painting his shed emotionally aggressive yellow, and once tried to evict a garden gnome for indecency. So when she rolled up to our cabin one Friday morning in a white HOA patrol truck, clipboard in one hand, smug smile in the other, I knew it was war. She didn't even knock. Just stood at the edge of our gravel path like a general surveying her next conquest. "Mr. Walker," she called out, "per Section 4C of the Community Aesthetic Code, these trees are in violation of sightline standards. Removal begins at noon." Grandpa looked up from his rocking chair, still whittling that wooden owl. "Ma'am," he said real slow, "these trees been standing longer than that fancy code of yours has existed." Her smile didn't budge. "Then I suppose it's time to modernize." The chainsaws started revving before she even finished her sentence. 6 guys in reflective vests and matching trucks. Grandpa stood, dusted off his overalls, and said to me under his breath, "Fetch the jug labeled 'Do Not Drink.'" Now, I'd seen that jug before. Thick black marker across a rusted metal can, something he used to keep out in the barn. I brought it over, and he grinned like a man about to commit a holy sin. "That," he said, "is fresh bull piss. Still warm, courtesy of Duke, meanest bull this side of the river." I blinked. "You're gonna pour that into their sauce?" He winked. "Justice comes in all forms, boy." 5 minutes later, while Cynthia barked orders about optical pollution, Grandpa slipped behind their trucks and replaced the gas in 3 chainsaws. By the time those engines fired, the smell could have killed a raccoon at 50 feet. The men gagged, stumbled back, one dropped his saw in the dirt. Cynthia screamed, "Sabotage," but it was too late. The air itself had turned against her. Grandpa just leaned on the porch post and said, "Maybe your bylaws should cover biohazards." She swore revenge, promising lawsuits, county hearings, and full-scale compliance enforcement. He just nodded. "Bring a nose plug next time." Word spread faster than wildfire. By that evening, half the town knew Earl Walker had taken down the HOA patrol with a jug of bull pee. Some called him a hero, others said he was insane, but everyone agreed on one thing. It was about damn time someone stood up to Cynthia Aldrich. But Cynthia wasn't done. Oh no. 2 days later, another letter arrived. This one thicker, full of legal jargon and perfume. She'd filed for an emergency injunction, accusing Grandpa of environmental sabotage via non-regulated livestock fluids. Sheriff Tom showed up, leaning on his truck, chewing a toothpick. "Earl," he said, "you technically ain't broken any laws, but you sure did piss off the wrong woman." Grandpa chuckled. "Wouldn't be the first time. We thought that'd be the end of it. Maybe a few angry meetings, a fine, some gossip." But Cynthia escalated. Her son, Brandon Aldrich, who'd gotten an online law degree from a school that probably used Gmail, suddenly became the HOA's legal counsel. He drafted new complaints, filed fake land surveys, and started showing up in a suit 2 sizes too tight, talking about community harmony. That's when Grandpa called in help. His old friend Wendell Pierce, a retired land assessor with more files than patience. Together they dug up maps from the 1970s, proving the pine grove wasn't even on HOA land. Grandpa smiled. "We'll end this their way, on paper." The next HOA meeting was packed, folks standing shoulder to shoulder, waiting to see if Cynthia would explode or melt first. She stood at the front, voice sharp as a lawnmower blade, declaring Grandpa's trees a public nuisance. And right then, Grandpa walked up, dropped a stack of documents on the table, and said, "You ever read your own charter, Cynthia? Page 12 says you can't touch a tree over 15 feet without owner consent. These here are 40. The room went silent. Cynthia stammered. Brandon tried to quote some outdated bylaw, but Wendell just held up the notarized map. "This land ain't yours, ma'am." Never was. People started clapping. Somebody yelled, "Let the man talk." Cynthia's face went red as a stop sign, and she stormed out, muttering about legal appeals. But she wasn't bluffing. A month later, we were sitting in county court, facing Cynthia and Brandon in front of a real judge. She strutted in wearing a blue blazer and pearls the size of marbles. Brandon carried a briefcase, so empty it probably echoed. Grandpa showed up in flannel and jeans, said a man who overdresses for court's got something to hide. The judge asked for statements. Grandpa laid it all out. The Grove's history, the boundary surveys, the harassment, the fake letters. Wendell backed him up with receipts and signatures. And then came the moment of truth. We played a recording, Cynthia's voice, clear as day, threatening other board members with fines if they didn't support her. Brandon froze. Cynthia turned pale. When the judge slammed the gavel, it sounded like thunder. Case dismissed. The Grove is legally protected, and the HOA is barred from any further interference. It should have ended there, but power junkies don't detox easy. A week later, strange men showed up near the Grove, said they were surveyors, but their tools were wrong, their shoes too clean. Grandpa watched from the porch. "That woman's trying again," he muttered. That night, we set up trail cameras. By morning, one had been knocked over. The footage showed the same men burying a metal box near our fence. Sheriff Tom opened it himself, full of rusted cans and scrap metal. "They're trying to frame you," he said. "Make it look like you're storing hazardous waste." That was enough. By sundown, deputies rolled up to Cynthia's house. She was arrested for conspiracy, trespassing, and fraudulent reporting. Brandon tried to tweet his defense, but he used the wrong there, and the internet ate him alive. The next morning, Maple Hollow woke up lighter. The pine grove stood untouched, the sky clear, the air finally still. Folks started calling it the Liberty Line. Some even carved "Don't tread on trees" into the fence posts. Grandpa didn't brag. He just sat on the porch with his pipe and said, "All I wanted was to keep what's mine." But maybe what's mine reminded folks they've got something worth standing up for, too. A month later, the Grove got official landmark status, protected forever. Cynthia moved 2 counties over and tried to start a recycling committee. It fell apart after a week. Brandon started selling tax prep out of a bowling alley. And the rest of us? We just breathed easier. But here's the thing about peace, it never lasts. A few nights back, Sheriff Tom stopped by with a folder. Someone had been moving the trail markers near our property line again, just a few inches at a time, subtle, quiet. Grandpa didn't say much, just looked out at the Grove and said, "Guess some folks never learn when to quit." So we filed one more set of papers, this time for a permanent conservation easement. The land is untouchable now, not HOA, not buyer, not politician. No one can touch it without breaking the law. That evening, we hammered a small bronze sign into the soil. It read, "This land is free, let it stay that way." And maybe that's how all wars should end, not with shouting, but with roots that hold. So now I'll ask you, what would you have done? Would you fight for your own patch of ground, even if the world told you to move? Or would you let someone like Cynthia bulldoze it in the name of Kamo? Nighty Harmony. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's see where you stand, with the clipboard or with the trees.